So if there is some way that you did not have Ushiwakamaru already at NP5, I don't know how that's even possible. She's a 3-star that's on every single banner. You can get her in the friend point gacha even. If somehow you don't have her on JP, she's on rate up with Queen Maeve. Nero's always up there. We got Tamamo Cat as well. Like, she's on rated with some pretty decent servants. You know, probably do a multi, get yourself Ushi at NP5. Because for a 3-star servant, and actually just for a servant in general, she is absolutely cracked out of her mind. She is an insanely good single target rider for anybody's box and is definitely a must level. This is a servant you should be prioritizing in your box. Now, if you enjoy my content and you enjoy daily FGO videos, make sure you give this video a like and you subscribe to the channel. If you want to go that extra mile, you can click that join button and become a channel member to take that extra step in showing your support. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and talk about why Ushi is so good and why I literally have just nothing but praise for this servant. Because even looking at her deck, you can maybe poke some holes in here and say like, well, her deck kind of sucks because she's an early game servant. And maybe I could give you some points there, right? Because their quick cards aren't super great. They only have 2 hits and their star gen stat is quite low. Her NP charge per attack is almost 90% with 2 arts cards, so she's probably going to be fine in the NP gen department, especially as we get into some of her skills. But then the extra attack is at the virgin 3 hits, which is kind of unfortunate. If you don't know, the extra attack is basically a composite card. It gens stars, it gens NP, it does big damage. Having a very good extra attack is very crucial in rounding out the wholeness of your deck. If the extra attack is weak, then it's going to make your entire deck suffer, especially for servants like Ushi, who are like a primary DPS and you want to be brave chaining with them. Having a weak extra card is really going to affect her ability to be that primary DPS. But her skills are actually crazy. They're actually insane. I don't know who the Ushiwakamaru fanboy is over at Delightworks, but they made her like a must level for all players, because not only does she have just very good skills, but she's also like a pseudo support type servant as well. So getting into her first skill, already when it dropped, this was already super good, because it's giving 20% NP gen to the entire party on a 5-turn cooldown. That's really good. For one, it's helping Ushi's own NP gen rate. So like, even though she has 2 arts cards and almost 90% NP gen, she's gonna raise that for herself, making her an absolute NP machine. It also helps that she is a quick servant, so it's actually gonna help her quick cards actually gen NP as well. But again, it is a party-wide buff, meaning even if you're just packing 2 other support casters, you're just doing like double Scotty, 1 Ushi, you're gonna help your Scotties get her NP. And I mean, at least Scotty's NP gives you a dodge and it gives you more crit damage, so it is still useful even if you're using like support casters and not other DPS servants with her. But then the skill gets buffed to give the entire party 20% quick performance as well. Still on a 5-turn cooldown, still getting the 20% NP gen for 3 turns. It just becomes a massively really good skill, especially for some budget players. Like if you're just starting the game and you don't have somebody like Scotty, she's going to work very well as a quick support servant, because the 2 things that quick servants really need to effectively loop is really decent NP gen, and they need a lot of that quick buff. So giving these to a servant, just kind of shoving it down their throat, is super helpful. Then we have her second skill, which was just a bummy charisma. And I say bummy, but it's 17% for the entire party, again on a 5-turn cooldown. But then they're like, what if we just put this skill on crack cocaine? So they brought the charisma up to par. So they're bringing it up to 20%, because if you didn't know, that's kind of the standard for charismas right now. They're all at like 20%, which I can appreciate the nice rounded off numbers. You know, Delightworks and I have the same logic when it comes to rounding off our numbers to being nice and even. But then on top of that, she's increasing her own critical damage by 50% for 3 turns and dropping 20 stars for the party to play around with, all on a 5-turn cooldown. Again, this is kind of helping Ushi in her support / primary DPS role, because she's out here double buffing the entire party by giving them quick and an attack buff, but then she's also giving that to herself, as well as buffing her crit damage by 50%, which is going to be very powerful in her brave chains. Now, and then dropping the 20 stars, I think is a very underrated skill, because I know that we used to meme on Instinct a lot because it was just like, oh, it's just dropping stars, but it is still useful for helping you, you know, top off your stars, or maybe you don't have any stars available. It kind of helps get your team going with like, okay, turn 1 I could start doing crits if I get really lucky. Ushi is a rider, so her natural star weight is very high, so the likelihood of her absorbing those 20 stars is very, very good. Now then we have her third skill, which I don't think we need another history lesson on early FGO and why certains are missing like their third skill or whatever. Basically, do your strengthening quest, get your third skill. It's going to give Ushi a dodge and 100% star gen for 1 turn, which is really going to help out her quick cards and actually being able to gen NP and her arts cards as well to some certain extent. Because now, even though the quick cards and the arts cards only have 2 hits each, you can still gen a few stars when you're buffing it that massively, especially if you use this skill in conjunction with her NP, which her NP is basically a big single target quick nuke that only has 1 hit, unfortunately, that raises her critical star generation by 50 to 90% depending on overcharge. Meaning if you use her NP while you have her third skill active, you're going to have anywhere of 150% to 190% critical star generation for that first turn, which does mean she'll be able to drop quite a few stars. Like, imagine you do a quick chain where you do like where you're already getting like the guaranteed 10 stars, and then she's going to be dropping a whole lot with her quick cards at that point, just kind of by just rawly injecting so much star generation into those quick cards. They'll actually gen a whole lot, which, I mean, yeah, her kit is very simple, but it's very, very good, because if you're a new player, skills 1 and 2 are going to be super crucial in bringing out the strength of your party, because she's giving NP gen, she's giving quick performance, she's giving an attack buff, and it's not like they're at like low clips at all. Like 20% for each of those is very decent. And then she's also bringing some utility to the fact that she can drop 20 stars on demand. She's kind of covering herself when it comes to crit damage. Now, obviously you would want to kind of focus in on that with, like, say someone like Scotty giving 100% quick crit damage, but the fact that she also gives herself her own built-in crit damage is very good. And then she's got her own survivability on lock with the dodge. And then maybe the one issue that she had with being a quick servant is that, well, her star gen stat is a little low and her quick cards are a little weak, so they just injected a metric ton of critical star generation into Ushi so she could actually gen decent amounts of stars. And then let's not also mention that her NP does a lot of damage. Even at NP 1, she's like around the top 5 for single target riders, but then you have to consider that she's going to be at NP 5 and your other servants are probably going to be at NP 1 to 2. So overall, yeah, Ushi is a must level. Like, do take advantage of this Grail live event right now. Level up your Ushi while she has double, like, EXP card gain or whatever. Make sure you do that. Get the costume as well. Come on, the costume's adorable. But make sure you level her up, especially if you're a newer player. She's going to be very, very good for you. While I don't think she's quite as good of a replacement for Kentucky Rider for those new players that missed the Onigashima event, she definitely will fill that void and will perform very, very well. But let me know what you guys think about Ushiwakamaru. I definitely love getting to talk about some of the lower rarity servants, and when I saw her going on Raid Up, I was like, dude, we have to talk about Ushi, because she was one of the first ones that I leveled up on my JP, and she's been killing it and helping me get through a lot of like the harder content in the game. So trying to spread that love around. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, but I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day. Peace, light, guys.